Hi everyone, Kevin here. Today I want to show you how you can build your very own YouTube studio. We're going to cover all types of topics today. We're going to talk about lighting, cameras, editing software, rugs. Whoa, hold up. Why are we going to talk about rugs? Well, turns out rugs can greatly impact your sound quality. We're going to cover lots of different topics today. Feel free to use the timestamps in the description to jump around this video. Otherwise, let's jump right on into it. The first item that I recommend for setting up your own YouTube studio, and this is going to be by far the most expensive item, is having your own dedicated space for filming. Yes, real estate prices in Seattle are very expensive. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You could just have a spare bedroom in your house that you use for filming. Some of the benefits, well, you could set up your camera, you could set up your lights, you could set up your microphone, and then you could leave them where they are. So when you go to film again, there's as little friction as possible to pulling together content. Now, in my specific case, my room that I use for filming is in the basement of my house. What I like about that is, first off, there aren't as many interruptions in the basement. It's slightly below grade, which cuts down on the outside noise that's coming in. And also there's minimum outside and natural light coming in, so I can control what the lighting looks like. So all in all, it's a pretty good setup, and I'm really raving about this basement bedroom. Let's be honest though, the real reason I have my studio down here is this was the one room in the house that my wife was willing to let me use. The next item is your home office setup. Wait, hold up. We're talking about filming YouTube videos. What does your home office setup have to do? Well, once you film your video, you have to edit your video, and making sure that you have an ergonomic setup where you're going to be able to sit down for a long time is extremely important. In fact, on my videos, the filming is the shortest amount of time and pulling together the edit takes a lot longer. So I want to make sure I'm comfortable. And that's where the desk that you have and the chair that you have are extremely important. Now, previously in my studio, I had an IKEA desk. It was just a basic desk. It didn't move. It was just stationary. And when I worked at Microsoft, I had a standing desk. The beautiful thing about a standing desk, especially when you're going to be sitting for a very long time, being able to stand and work some, and when you're tired of standing, you sit again, it really makes you more productive, and it really just helps increase the ergonomics of your setup. So I was in the market for a new standing desk, and that's when FlexiSpot reached out. Now, this is one of the perks of being a YouTuber. You have companies reach out and offer you products. So what do you think I said? Well, of course I accepted the desk. They sent out a new FlexiSpot Vicky desk. It's white, looks beautiful. I set it up in my home office. Took me about 10 to 15 minutes. And now while I'm editing my videos, I could stand up and then I could sit down again. This desk retails for about $300. And for $300, being able to stand up and break up the work, especially while we're all working from home now, I think it's well worth the investment. Next, I want to talk about the chair that you use, and this is a chair that I personally purchased from the company Knoll, K-N-O-L-L. And one thing that you might notice too, especially now that so many people are working from home for such long periods of time, when you sit down, your booty starts to hurt. Now, previously I had about a $150 or $200 chair from Staples. It was a leather chair. It looked pretty nice, and when I occasionally sat on it during the weekends, it did the job just fine. But now that I'm working from home all the time, I wanted to make sure I had an ergonomic and comfortable chair. So I picked up this Knoll Generation chair. Now, these chairs are somewhat expensive. Now, the desk was $300. The chair itself ranges anywhere from $600 to $1,200. This specific chair that I got was $800, but it's designed for you to sit on it all day long. And for video editing, when you're going to be sitting a long time, it's well worth investing in the chair. Now, I don't know if I would have spent as much on the chair if I had the standing desk already, because then I wouldn't need the chair as much, but it's nice to have both. The next item, and perhaps the most important, is making sure that your YouTube video and your studio has excellent audio and sound quality. I don't know about you, but when I watch videos on YouTube, if there's a video with poor audio, but maybe the filming and the video is very good, I typically tune out. If the audio's great, but maybe the video is not quite as good, I'll still stick around, because as long as I can understand and hear what the person is saying clearly, they've got my attention. Now, I know I'm personally guilty of this. When I first started my YouTube channel, guess what microphone I used?
I just picked up a brand new Fitbit Charge 2.
I relied on the integrated microphone on the camera, which is probably the worst microphone you can possibly use. In fact, my strategy for making sure you could hear my voice better using an integrated microphone was simply to speak even louder. Needless to say, that technique did not work all that well, and I had lots of people give me feedback telling me that my audio quality wasn't all that good. So what did I do? Well, I invested in a mid-tier microphone called the Rode NT USB microphone. I personally purchased this. It retails for about $170, and I personally think the sound quality is pretty good, although you can judge that as the viewer of this video. Tell me what you think about the audio quality of this microphone. With microphones, they range in price anywhere between $50 all the way up to well over $1,000. So you have lots of different price points for microphones. With microphones, from what I found, is if you're investing $170 or even $200, you're going to get a massive increase in quality compared to what you might get for, say, $30 or $40, and even compared to your integrated microphone. But once you start moving up to, let's say, $1,000, yeah, you'll get a slight improvement over what you would get for, say, a $170 microphone like what I have, but you get diminishing returns where the increase in price, at least to me, didn't justify the increase in quality. And when you're spending around, say, $100 to $200, you're already going to have a massive step up in the quality of the sound for your videos. When I got my new microphone, I thought I had my sound quality completely worked out and I was good to go. Unfortunately, that wasn't so. When I first set up this studio in my house, I started recording videos using this microphone. Hi everyone, my name is Kevin. Today we are going to look at a new... I started getting lots of feedback from people telling me, wow, there's a lot of echo in your video, or there's a lot of reverb in your audio. You should really work on that. And I was thinking, well, I have a good microphone. Why is there a lot of echo? It turns out that the room greatly impacts your audio quality. In fact, I'm in a small basement bedroom in my house, and when you're in a small room, that leads to lots of echo and lots of reverb. So I didn't notice it initially, but when I went back and watched my videos, I noticed all of this echo. To take care of the echo, I made a few different investments. I purchased acoustic panels for the walls. If you've ever been to, say, a sports hall, a restaurant, a movie theater, you've probably noticed these panels on the wall. Those are acoustic panels and they help improve the audio quality by eliminating echoes. In fact, if you're building a home theater at home, one of the best investments that you can make to improve your sound quality is to get acoustic panels. To improve my sound quality, I purchased the Prime Acoustics London 12 sound panel kit. It came with a bunch of sound panels that I could hook up to the wall. I went to the Prime Acoustics website, I entered in the dimensions of the room, and then it recommended this kit as a good solution. This kit ran for about $700 for the sound panels, and I also added some corner traps in the room as well. Apparently, it turns out that the most reverb and echo happens in the corner of rooms, and so these traps help capture a lot of that echo, and it results in just cleaner audio. Along with getting acoustic panels for the room, my room has concrete floor, and you probably guessed it now, concrete floor is terrible and notorious for causing reverb. Your voice just bounces off that floor and it goes up into the microphone a few seconds later, a few milliseconds later, causing that echo. So what I did is I invested in a high ply rug for my studio, and what this helps do is it helps absorb some of that sound as well, also helping reduce that echo. The next most important item is your lighting. Oh, this lighting looks bad. This is just my room lighting, and yeah, you don't want to use your room lighting because look at this. This lighting doesn't look good at all. And now this is what I look like when I have all of my lights turned on. It looks a lot better than the overhead light that you're going to get in a room. If you're just starting out with your YouTube studio, you can use natural light from the window. It's going to look very nice and it's going to do a good job illuminating your face. But let's say you're in a basement room like me, you're going to want to set up artificial lighting. Now, I think lighting is even more important than the actual camera you use. In fact, here I am on my old iPhone 6 Plus. This is an old camera, but with the right lighting, I think the video quality on this actually looks pretty good. So I don't think the camera matters as much. The lighting is really what makes the picture look good. The first light in my 4-point lighting system is the Aperture 120D2. This is my key light. The full setup, including the light, the diffuser, the stand, all of it costs a little over $1,000. So it's a pretty expensive light, but the really nice thing about it is that it produces really natural looking light. Now, what do I mean by natural light? Well, it's 5,500 Kelvin, and that's very close to replicating what daylight looks like. The reason it looks so natural is, well, us as humans, when we go outside and we see others and we see other people's faces, it's usually illuminated by sunlight, and this comes very close to replicating what sunlight looks like. Another added bonus is you also get a remote, so I could turn the light off and then I could turn it back on and I could switch through. I could set the brightness directly from my remote so I could look at my camera, see what it looks like, and I make it some fine adjustments on here to get the lighting exactly how I want it to look. I have it sitting at a 45-degree angle to my head so it illuminates this part of my face. Now you see that this part of my face is nicely illuminated. What about the other side? I seem to have a lot of shadows and darkness over there. Well, that's where we have a fill light. And earlier I mentioned that I have a 4-point lighting system. What that means is I have 4 lights that make up the lighting for this scene. I have my key light and now I have my fill light. Let's turn that on to see what it looks like. Check that out. It just filled in all these shadows on my face. For my fill light, I use a GVM LED light. GVM stands for Great Video Maker. GVM was nice enough to send me a lighting kit for free for use with my YouTube channel. The thing I really like about these GVM lights is I can control what the color looks like. So not only is it a bicolor light, here I could adjust it so it's a little warmer, or I can make it a little colder. Right now I'm going to set it so it matches this light. I could also choose different colors. So say for instance I want to have, let's say, a yellow backdrop, or maybe I want to go with a blue backdrop. Through the app on my phone, I can control what the lighting looks like. And that's something that I love about these GVM lights. I could go on my computer, I could compose the shot, and if I need to make some tweaks to my lighting, I could simply do so through the app. Along with changing the color, I could also change the brightness. So here I'm going to go super bright on the fill light, so I could even use this as a key light as well to illuminate my face. The great thing about these lights as well is they come with diffusers that I could put over the LED lights. If I want the light to be a little bit softer, I simply attach those to the front of the LED lights, and if I simply want the full power of the light, I could take the diffuser off. Since I'm using this light as a fill, I'm simply going to set the brightness to about 10% or so just to remove the shadows on this side of my face. The nice thing about these lights is they also come with barn doors. So those surround the LED lights, and that way I can eliminate any other spill throughout my studio. So the light is truly just hitting me and it's not going off and lighting the wall or lighting the background, because I want to apply different lighting to different areas of the room. So these barn doors really help focus the light. These 2 GVM lights that I have one as my fill light. I also have one as my hair light or my backlight. The 2 light kit runs for $400. You could also buy an individual light, or you could even get 3 lights depending on what type of lighting setup you want to do. So far, since I've been using these lights, they've become a core part of my lighting system, and I would recommend them. For $400, it's a pretty good price for getting some very nice lights that you can control with your phone. The third light in my 4-point lighting system is my backlight or my hair light. This light helps separate me from the background, and once again, this is another GVM light. It's the same as the last one that we just looked at. When I turn this on, you can see now that there's some light on my shoulder. There's a little bit of a halo appearing around me. This really helps separate me from the background. Just like the previous light that we looked at, I could adjust the brightness here depending on how strong or weak I want that back effect to look. The fourth and final light of my 4-point lighting system is the Aperture MC. Let's switch this on and look at that. I have a nice blue color in back of me. I use this light in all of my tutorial videos to match the product brand color with my light color in back of me. I recently did a top 16 tips and tricks in Microsoft OneNote. The brand color is a nice purple color, so I threw a purple color up behind me. I think it adds a pretty cool effect. The Aperture MC runs for about $90. It's a pretty small form factor. It has a metallic background, so you can basically stick it wherever you want. Now, one of the beautiful things about this light is I can choose a color and it'll match that color. Here, for example, I have the Aperture app, and I'm going to choose a color here on my screen, and let's go apply it now to my background. Check that out. This is a color I got from my screen, and now the background matches that. How cool is that? So what do you think? The lighting setup, in my opinion, looks pretty good, and I'm pretty satisfied with it. Now, once again, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get good lighting. You could simply use natural light from your window, or you could pick up some cheaper LED lights and still get a very nice effect using the 4-point lighting concept. Now, altogether, the lights that I'm using in my studio, they cost about $1,500. So it's a little pricier, but I think the output and the result looks pretty good. Once again, I've included links in the description if you're interested in checking any of them out. Next, I have a Dell Ultra Sharp 34-inch monitor. It has a resolution of 3440 by 1440. This thing is beautiful when you're editing videos. You have a ton of real estate to see your video timeline. You could also put two windows side by side when, let's say, you're working on, say, uploading your description, and you also want to see the video on the other side. This thing is a workhorse. Now, it runs for about $700. I personally purchased this. I had the same monitor when I worked at Microsoft, and I liked it so much that I picked it up for my home use as well. Next, I want to talk about my computer. I have a Dell XPS 8930. I bought it about 3 years ago, so it's a little bit older, and it cost me about $1,500. This thing has a lot of RAM. I have 32 gigabytes of RAM. I have an i7 processor, and it also has a GTX 1070 graphics card, which was top of the line a few years ago. Now, you have a new set of computers out. You have a new RTX graphics card, so I'll likely look at upgrading sometime soon. The thing I love about this computer, though, is it handles video editing very nicely. Whatever 4K video I throw at it, it renders it very quickly, and I can play the video back without any issues. So in terms of video editing, this computer works extremely well. Now, I went with a desktop computer instead of a laptop. The reason I like a desktop is you get lots of performance for a very good price. If you're going to get a laptop for a similar amount of performance, you're going to end up spending a lot more money. Next, I want to show you some of the software I use to pull together these videos. Here I am on my desktop, and I use OBS as my screen recorder, and I also use it to capture my video. Here you can see me in the video right here. I could shift between my video. I could also jump and show my desktop, and here you see what it looks like. This is an extremely powerful screen recorder. I use it for all of my recordings on this channel. I've done some dedicated videos on OBS if you're interested in learning more about how to use this software. The next item that I use extensively in my YouTube studio is my cursor highlighter, and I did a video exclusively on this, on how to get the cursor highlighter. Luc Boisvert pulled together this tool that you can download entirely for free. I've included a link to his website in the description if you want to get this. I've also included a link to my original video that shows you how to get this cursor highlighter. If you've ever done tutorial videos before, you know that helping people follow where you're pointing is extremely important, and Luc's tool does an awesome job at highlighting your mouse cursor. Next, I want to talk about the video editing software that I use in my YouTube studio, and I personally use Cyberlink Power Director. They provided it to me for free about a year ago to review, and I reviewed it, and then I started using it beyond then because I liked it so much. The really fantastic thing about Power Director is the performance. When you render videos, it goes extremely fast. When I drop 4K videos into Power Director, it plays them without any issues at all. It's just flawless. Power Director has a pretty typical editing software layout. Here I see all of my media content. Here's a video that I recently pulled together on how to convert a PDF to Word. I pull in all my video files, any images that I want to include as part of the video, and then I can simply drag and drop them down on the timeline down below. Down on the timeline is where I make all my cuts and where I make all my edits to make sure that the storyline flows. Up here in the top right hand corner, I can see the final output, or I see a preview of my video. Once I'm ready to render it, I simply click on produce, and then I'll be able to output my video. Once again, it works very well, and I've been very satisfied with this software. Power Director retails for about $100 to $120. They also have a subscription plan which costs less. I believe it's around $50 or so per year, and that gives you access to continuous updates over time. The next piece of software that I use extensively in my YouTube studio is Microsoft OneNote. I use this to keep track of all of my video ideas. This is where I brainstorm videos. This is where I put down videos that are in progress, and I also keep all of my scripts for my videos in Microsoft OneNote. The thing that I love about OneNote is when I enter my notes on my PC, it synchronizes with my phone, so then I could refer to my phone as I'm filming a video to refer back to my notes. The great thing about OneNote is it's entirely free to use. Finally, I want to talk about the camera. And you might be wondering, why did we wait until the very end to talk about the camera? Especially when we're talking about setting up a YouTube studio. The reason I saved the camera until the very end is I think there are more important things than the camera. I think the audio is extremely important, and I think with lighting, you can make even an old camera look fantastic. Now, I personally use a Sony a6500. The full camera, the body, the lenses, it ran for about $2,000. The great thing about the Sony a6500 is the autofocus is phenomenal. If I move towards the camera, and then I move away again, you'll see that it very quickly focuses on my face. I have an f1.8 and a 35mm lens on this camera, and with that I get a very nice depth of field. So you see in back of me, the background's nice and blurry while my face is nice and crisp. So I get that through this lens. Along with the camera itself, I also have it hooked up to my computer using an Elgato Camlink 4K. That runs for about $150, $160, and that allows me to take the footage from my camera and send it directly into my computer. In the past, I would record directly on my camera onto an SD card. Once I was done recording, I would have to take out the SD card, plug it into my computer, or transfer the video onto my computer. So it was a few steps, and it was a lot of friction to getting the video onto my computer. Now I've eliminated all of that by plugging my camera directly into my computer. The very last item of today that I use in my YouTube studio is a massive green screen. A green screen is very nice when I'm pulling together my thumbnails. I simply stand in front of the green screen and I could remove the background, and then that's how I create my thumbnails. I can also use it in my videos if I want myself to sit in front of the video footage. A green screen is a nice thing to have, and you can do a lot with it, and they only run for about $50 to $60 to pick up a fairly large green screen. Alright, well, we covered a lot of content today in this video. To recap what I think is most important, I think first off, the space that you're using, making sure you're comfortable and making sure that you have space where you're not going to be interrupted. So your desk, your chair, having a dedicated space for your YouTube video. The second item that is very important is making sure your sound quality is very good. Invest in a good microphone. If you need to, and if you're open to it, get acoustic panels. You can also pick up cheaper ones online. That'll go a long way towards improving your video quality. And lastly, the lighting makes a huge difference towards the quality of your video. Even if your camera's not that good, your lighting will make it look phenomenal. You can take an old camera and make it look better than most output that you'll see from other people using a better camera because they didn't light the scene that well. Alright, well, those are all my steps to creating your very own YouTube studio. If you found this video helpful and you learned some new things, please give this video a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure to hit that subscribe button. That way you'll get a notification anytime new content like this comes out. And lastly, if you want to see me cover any other topics in the future, leave a note down below and I'll add it to my list of videos to create. Alright, well, that's all I had for you today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.